Thank you very much for joining again today. So we are starting the third module of our Bring Out the Best in You series. So all of you have completed 2 modules very successfully. The first module was taken by me on health and other aspects. Just a minute. And second module was on mind, and which was taken by Mr. Harish Prabhu. So thank you all of you for completing these 2 modules successfully. And many of you have attempted already the quiz of the session 1. So we'll be sending you the quiz of session 2 also, module 2 also soon. So you can also attempt that. So that will be considered for the test, for the certificate. Hare Krishna. So I hope my voice is very clear, and we'll start our program today. Today's program is entitled Self-Realization for Self-Satisfaction. Okay, they are asking for a key for quiz 1. Okay, we will send you again. Yeah. So they want to, we'll activate it again. So those who have not attempted, you can attempt it again. Okay. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So I'll try to speak louder. There's a comment that, okay, I hope my voice is now better, a little more clear and audible. Okay, so we'll begin this session today. Today's session is about science of soul. Today we'll be talking about soul and what is soul, does it exist, and if it exists, how to believe in it. So those topics we'll cover. And tomorrow we'll discuss about God also. So discuss about soul, discuss about God tomorrow. And day after tomorrow we'll have mentor meetings. Okay. So before we start, I'll put a question. So let me check if, yeah. Okay. What is not coming? Just a minute, we are launching a poll. So we'll see the answers to that poll before we begin the session. Okay, so you're able to see the poll on your computer. Kindly click on the poll. So there are different options. So you can click multiple correct options also. Yeah, about 25 of you voted. Please let the results coming in. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, just 10 of you are remaining. Please complete the poll before we begin the session. Okay, so you can end the poll. Yeah. End poll. And you can share the results also. Share the result. You are able to see the results on the screen. Okay, so accordingly we will start our session today. Okay, thank you so much, and stop sharing. So today's session I have entitled as self-realization for self-satisfaction. Right, you can see this person sitting in meditation and is trying to realize the self. Who is he? So that's called self-realization. So before self-realization, we have to understand who am I, who is the self, and when we know who is the self, then we can realize the self, and then we can try to find satisfaction by knowing what is the self. Okay, so I have divided this session into many themes. So we'll begin with the first theme: who am I? So this is $1 million question. Many people ask this question. So if I ask you the question, who are you? What will be your answers? If I ask you the question, who are you? What will be the answers? Okay, Surinder is telling, I'm a human being. Okay, and okay, I'm eternal soul. Okay, you're a student. I'm soul. Okay, I'm not the body, I'm soul. Okay, some of you are giving, I am me. I'm matter plus soul. I'm not this body, I'm soul. I'm the body. Okay, I'm a Parashakti. Okay. So children of God, part of God, tiny creatures in vastness of universe. Okay, God's beautiful soul. So many of your answers are coming in connection with the soul. Okay, somebody is saying I'm a living creature. I'm a soul taking this body for some time based on karma. Okay, I'm God's gift. Okay, so many answers came. I'll just write down. Somebody is saying I'm a human being. Somebody is telling that I am a child of God. Right? Somebody is saying I'm the soul, and somebody said that I'm. Yeah, still answers are coming in. Okay, we are God plus us. So we are. Somebody is telling soul plus matter. Somebody is saying God plus us. That's what they are telling. I'm just writing it down. Then we'll analyze what is right and what can be corrected. Okay, and some of the answers were, I'm the child of God who has got degraded. Okay, I'm a living creature. Okay, children of God. I'm a species on earth. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so generally these are the different answers, which different category of answers which many of you are giving. Okay, so I can add more to this. Generally we tell our name, or we tell the place we are from. Right, that's what we identify with, right? Our name, our place, our occupation. Right. So these are some of the things which generally we say we are. Okay, but are we just this? That is the point. Now some of you are also telling, okay, we are in God and God is in us. That's what I mean. Okay, depends on our consciousness level. Okay, we tell our surname. Correct. So these are the different answers which we generally get when we ask, who are you? Right. But if you carefully examine some of these points which you just said, they're all connected to the body. We didn't have this identity. We got this identity only after we were born, isn't it? We got a name after we were born. We got a place. We are from such and such place because we were born there. And we belong to such and such surname because we are born in such a family. These are all identifications which are coming because of our bodily identification. Correct? But the question may arise, am I just this body? Or am I body? Am I something more than the body? That's the question, right? So let's try to analyze this right now. I will require one volunteer from among you. Okay. I want one volunteer from among you, and I'll ask you some questions, and you'll be coming on the video live, and you can tell some answers. Okay, Karthik is volunteering. So I will allow Karthik to come on the screen here. Yeah, you have to switch on your video also. Okay. Yes, hi Karthik. Where are you from?
I am from Srirampur, Maharashtra.
You are from Maharashtra. Okay, thank you. So you're liking these sessions?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll ask you some very simple questions. Will you answer it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you have your cell phone or something with you?
Yes. I have
Can you show it?
Yes.
Can we see it on the screen? Or you are using the phone in your hand? Okay.
Using a phone.
Okay, fine. So you are using your phone.
Yes.
So can you point out where is your shirt? Okay, that is your shirt.
On my body.
Okay, that is shirt which belongs to you, isn't it?
Yes.
So when you say my shirt, you are different from your shirt, isn't it?
Yes.
Because something which belongs to you is different from you, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, can you show me where is your head?
Yes.
Can you point out? It's here.
Yes.
Eyes? That is your eyes.
Yes.
Okay. Ears? Okay, that is your ear.
Yes.
So you said is your shirt, and your head, and your eyes, then your ears, your body?
Yes, this is my body.
This is your body.
Yes.
So can you point out where are you?
I do not understand.
So you said that this is my head, is my ear, my eyes.
Yes.
Where am I? Where are you?
I am a soul, and
Okay.
I am within a body.
Okay, you are within a body. Correct. That's what I was looking for. Thank you, Karthik. So thank you for volunteering and coming on the screen. See, we did a very important exercise here. By this, we'll understand who am I, right? So initially, Karthik was telling that I am this. This is his shirt, his head, his ears, his eyes, isn't it? So when we say this is mine, right? So I am different from mine. So then I asked the question, where are you? So then the little confusion, then he correctly answered. The answer is, I am within this body. I am the owner of this body, right? I am not this body, but I am the owner of this body. So that's what we understand from this exercise, right? So just like you are staying in your home, many of you are staying in your home, you are different from your home. You are staying in the home, you are owning the home, right? Or you are renting the home and you are staying in the home. So similarly, the soul is inside this body, is residing within this body, and the body is like the temporary home for the soul right now. Correct? So, were you able to follow this? Right? So, I hope all of you are able to understand. So, yeah, there is a question coming in the chat here. What about mind? Do I own the mind? Yeah, that because we say it is my mind, my intelligence. So we own the mind. We are not the mind. We are different from the mind. Okay, we'll discuss more about this in today's session. Very important question. So, no, we are okay. He's asking, what about my soul? It's not my soul. It is I, the soul. I am the soul. It's not my soul. Generally, in talking, we may use that my soul, but actually, it is I who are the soul, who is the soul. Okay, so that's the correct answer. Yeah, so you're right. What is mine cannot be me. So that's why I am different from mine. When I say my body, so I enter all the bodily parts, the hands, the heart, the lungs, and all the body, the legs, everything belongs to me. So I am different from me. So, right? So that's the difference. All of you are very correctly understanding this point. So let's go ahead to the next section. Right? Next, there's a question here. Am I just a bunch of chemicals, or am I much more than the chemicals? So there was one scientist. His name was Dr. Henry Monson. I'm going to share the screen here. Yeah. I'm going to open a PDF file and show to you here. So I hope you're able to see the screen. So there is a Dr. Henry Monson who did an experiment to find out the composition of the body. And the composition of the body is like this. Most of the human body is water. So in a person who weighs 60 pounds, there are about 5 pounds of calcium, 1.5 pounds of phosphate, about 9 ounces of potassium, 6 ounces each of sulfur and sodium, 1 ounce of magnesium, and less than 1 ounce each of iron, copper, and iodine. This is what is the composition of the body. And most of the, see, all these elements, if you take it to a chemist, you go to his shop, and in the chemist shop, let him estimate the value of all these things. Do you know what is the value of this, all these chemicals? The value of the chemicals is not more than rupees 110. That's it. It's not more than rupees 110. Now, is that our worth? Is that our value? How many of you think that your body is worth just 110 rupees? Okay, so many are saying no, no, no. Okay, that's right. It's not so cheap. Like if somebody has got a disease and he wants to get some transplantation done, for example, he wants to get his eye transplanted, right? They ask lakhs of rupees, isn't it? If you want a heart transplantation, they'll ask, it will cost lakhs of rupees. So the body parts are not cheap. So so how can the body be so cheap? Yeah, correct. Kidney, yeah, very costly, right? So according, if you separate all these chemicals, it's 110 rupees. But when it is connected to the body, it is very, very expensive. It is, we cannot, it's worthless actually. You cannot, it's priceless actually. You cannot put a price to it. So that's what is the understanding. Like, for example, I'll tell you an incident. You can tell me the answer. What we'll do in that. Suppose you and your friend are traveling in a car. So both of you are traveling in a car, and car is going at very high speed. It's on a highway, and somehow the vehicle's tire got burst because of high speed. Sometimes because of high speed, the tire gets heated up and it bursts. And the car is a very costly car. So it's something like Mercedes car is going very fast, and it slipped, right? And because the tire burst, it went off the road and hit a tree, and it got badly damaged, the car. And you are sitting in the passenger seat, and your friend who was driving, he got very badly wounded, right? And blood is oozing from his body. But somehow you got saved, right? There is hardly few scratches on your body, but not major scratches. You come out of the vehicle by opening the door immediately. Now you have two choices: uh, to uh, to take the person, your friend, to the hospital, or to take the car to the garage. Now, can you tell me what is the cost of a Mercedes car? What will be the worth of a Mercedes car? I think it will be about 50 lakh, more than 50 lakh, isn't it? That will be worth. And the chemical composition of the body is 110 rupees, right? So now, what will you do? Will you take the uh, friend to the hospital first, or will you take the car to the garage first? Okay, Dheeraj is telling take friend to the hospital. Go to the hospital first. Yeah, friend to the hospital. Hospital. All the answers are hospital, isn't it? Save the friend first. We can buy the car again. That's right. We can buy the car again, but we cannot get back the friend. Now, what do we understand from this is what is it in the body that makes it so valuable, right? It is the presence of Atma. It is the presence of soul, which makes the body very valuable for all of us, right? So body is not just worth 110 rupees. It's much more than 110 rupees, right? So this is told in Bhagavad Gita. It is said here, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yauvanam jara tatha dehantara praptir dhirastatra namuhyati. As embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change, right? So the Atma keeps going from one body to another body. That's called the life. So the law of transmigration. The body moves from one body. The soul moves from one body to another. So that is the concept of soul. Soul never dies. The soul is Satchitananda. It is eternal. It is Sat. Sat means eternal. It never dies. The only body may die. Right? That's what Bhagavad Gita is telling. That the body has a birth date and it has a death date, but the soul doesn't have any birth date and the death date. So that is the concept of Atma, right? Yeah. So the body is like a dress upon the soul, and the dress can change, but the soul doesn't change. Like just like you also keep changing your body dress every day. Sometimes you wear a yellow dress, sometimes you wear a green dress or blue dress, but you don't change, isn't it? So just like you have a dress on your body, similarly, the soul also has a dress on the body, dress of the body. So like here you see, when the child is born, then he grows, right? See, the body is growing, but the soul is not growing. Soul is just traveling from one body to another body within this life, right? Child's body, Kaumaram, Yauvanam, Jara. Kaumaram means childhood, Yauvanam means youth, Jara means old age. And when the body becomes old and it dies, so the body becomes part of earth or it is burnt and become ashes, but the soul goes to the next life. So that's what happens. So that's told in Bhagavad Gita 2.18. Antavanta ime deha nityasyokta sharirina Anashino aprameyasya tasmad yudhyasva bharata. Right? This body is antavanta. It has an end. Nityasyukta sharirina. Shariri means person inside the body. That is Atma. So Atma is Nitya. Anashino, it cannot be destroyed. Aprameyasya, it is immeasurable. Tasmad yudhyasya bharata. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, you fight. Because the soul is indestructible. In the wars, the battle may happen, you will be shooting arrows, right? So Arjuna was thinking, but if I shoot arrows, then people will die. He said, no, their body will get destroyed. And because now the Kauravas, they are using their body for sinful activities. So when you fight, their bodies will die, but they will not die. And they'll get purified of their sinful reactions and they'll get a better body next life. So you fight. So that's what he is telling here. See, this is the difference between body and soul. The body is made up of matter. What is matter? Panchamahabhuta. Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. These are the 5 ingredients of body. And soul is made up of spirit. It is antimatter. It is completely opposite of matter. Right? So that is the nature of soul. It is spirit. Body is not conscious, but the soul is conscious. The body changes, but the soul does not change. Body is temporary, but soul is eternal. Body is dead, but the soul is alive. In fact, the body acts alive because soul is present within this body. Right? That's why the life symptoms are present in this body because of the presence of the soul. So that's the right understanding. Correct? So yeah. So there are some questions coming here. I will take the questions surely at the end of my presentation. Okay. So I was telling about this body and soul. Yeah. Now, what is the difference between dead body and a living body? That we will try to see. Yeah, see here, this is a very beautiful image telling us about how to understand that I am the soul. So you'll see here the body is like a machine, yantra rudani. The body is like a yantra, and you'll see here the person is seeing through the eyes, and his brain is like a circuit, which is a processing unit. And then there are a lot of machines, there are connections, there are electrical circuits here. There is engine, there are the wheels, which are like the legs, right? So the entire body, which is like a machine, is being operated by a person sitting here. He is the soul. Of course, it's not literally like this. It's not that soul is sitting and is operating, pressing different buttons. It's just a representation of it. It means that soul sitting in the region of the heart, he is controlling the entire body. As long as the soul is present in the body, we call the body as living body. And when the soul leaves the body, we call it as a dead body. Right? That's the difference between living body and a dead body. Right? You are not the body that you see in the mirror. Example, generally every morning we go and see our face in the mirror. Am I actually that? No. We are not actually what you see. So this person is seeing his own mirror, his own face in the mirror. But actually it is not he. He is here. This soul is seeing his face, right, through the eyes, and he is thinking I am this body. But actually he is not this body. He is the spirit soul. He is the controller of the body. Right? When we see from a material point of view, we see different species like a cow, a man, elephant, deer, dog, snake, and a bird. From a material point of view, we see it as a bundle of chemicals or bundle of made up of earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And when the body dies, everything is gone. That is a vision from material point of view. But when we see from a spiritual point of view, this is how we see that every species of life has got a soul inside. The cow is alive because one soul has taken the body of a cow. This man is alive because he has taken the soul inside has taken the body of a human being because of his past karma. Same with all the living entities, right? So we see that the spirit soul is engaged in the material body. That's the right understanding. See, another beautiful example to understand. Like if you have a car, you drive the car. Without you, the car cannot move an inch, right? So when you sit inside the car and you start the ignition and press the accelerator, then only the car moves. Otherwise, it will be standing there only for a long time, isn't it? So the body is also like a car, and the body will move or act only when the soul is present inside the body. That is the right understanding. If, for example, I am speaking now. How am I speaking? Can the body speak on its own? No. As a soul, I am sitting in this body and I want to convey some message to all of you. And when the soul wants to convey some message to all of you, then all the functions of the body start working. The throat will vibrate the sound. I'm able to see all of you. I'm able to read whatever you're writing, isn't it? How? Because the soul is deciphering all this information and is expressing. I'm able to express through this body, right? So that's how the body is like a machine and soul is the operator of this machine. Okay. Is man not just a powerful computer or a robot? That may be another question which may come to the mind. Right? So now there's a difference between a machine or a robot and a man. A man can have certain experiences which a machine cannot have. Like for example, a camera is watching this movie going on in the theater. Is watching a drama on the theater in the theater. So the camera is recording these scenes, but the camera has no experience, it has no emotions, it cannot have any consciousness, and it cannot judge whether the drama is good or bad. That cannot. But same thing when judges, when a live human being is seeing this, and he can experience the drama. He can feel elation, he can feel sorrow, he can feel anger, right? Different emotions he can feel. And then he is conscious, right? And is able to judge, okay, this is a good drama, or it's a bad drama, or it's a mediocre drama. So like that he can judge. So that judgment is being done because of the soul present inside the body. Okay, so that's the right understanding. Okay, so we have covered these points here. What is the difference? First point was, who am I? Am I just a bunch of chemicals? Then we saw that no, body is not worth rupees 110 rupees. It's much more. Then what is the difference between living body and a dead body? We saw that also. And now we will see the 6 symptoms of a living being. Okay. Any living being will exhibit these 6 symptoms. First is birth. It is born. Then it grows. Okay. Just like you put a seed in the soil, the seed after some time it grows. Then it becomes a tree and maintains its size for a certain time. Then you'll see some flowers and fruits coming there. Right? It produces some byproducts. That's the 4th point. And then it starts dwindling. Like after the tree becomes of certain age, then the leaves starts drying up, the wood also starts drying up, and then finally the tree dies. So in this way, the soul, the body goes through these 6 changes because of the presence of the soul. Right? Similarly, a child also, a human being also goes through these 6 changes. So these 6 changes are like this. I'll share another screen with all of you, like this. So the body is born, then it grows. So the small child is growing, then it maintains for some time. Then when he becomes an adult, he will produce babies, he'll production of byproducts. If it is a tree, then the tree will produce some fruits and flowers. And then it dwindles, and then there is death. And finally the person dies. And death is not the end. The body dies, but the soul goes to another destination. So in this way, the soul is transmigrating from one body to another body. So here also it is very clearly explained, you'll see. So first is birth, then he grows, then he maintains, then he gets married and produces byproducts, right? And then he starts becoming old, and finally enters into the crematorium. So that's called death. So these 6 changes are present in a living entity. And on the other hand, a dead matter, it is created and it is destroyed. That's all. It's created and it dwindles. Only 2 things are there. It cannot produce byproducts. Like 2 cars cannot come together and produce a nano car or a baby car. It's not possible. Right? Or 2 robots cannot come together and produce a baby robot. That's not possible. But a man and a woman can come together and produce babies. That is possible because man is alive, he is having a soul, and woman is alive, he is having a soul, and there's a mechanism by which another body is created. So life comes from life. Life doesn't come from matter. Just by interaction of certain chemicals, life cannot be produced. So that's what we can understand from this. So life is a product of another life. Life cannot come from matter. So these are the 6 changes which the living being undergoes. And also within this own life, the soul is going through different changes. The body is going through different changes. Even medically, it is proven that every 6 years or 7 years, all the elements in the body are completely transformed. They are replaced, right? Because we are eating food every day. So we are getting energy and new cells are being produced in the body. And then the old cells are dying. So new cells are getting generated and the old cells are dying. So in this way, what is happening? The body is changing. And after every 7 years, the body is completely changed. So that's what we can understand. So the body is transformed even in this life also. In the life of 70 years which we have, In that also, the body is completely getting changed, but it is very imperceivable. We cannot perceive the living entities. Yeah. Now, next question is, what is the difference between soul and God? Right. So, the difference between soul and God is that soul is a part and parcel of God. He is not God. Okay. So the soul, Mamaivamsho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. In Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter, shloka number 7, Krishna tells that the Jiva is part and parcel of Krishna. Mama eva amshaha Jiva Bhuta Jiva Loke Sanatana. Manashashtani Indriyani Prakritisthani Karshati. So that is the definition of the soul. That soul is a part and parcel of Krishna. It is just like when you put fire, the sparks of fire are also created. So the sparks of fire are like the soul, and the fire is like the God. Or another example is sun and the sun rays. Sun rays are dependent on the sun. Sun rays cannot become the sun. Okay, sun rays are different from the sun, but they are dependent on the sun. Just like fire particles are different from fire, right? They are separated from fire, but they are also dependent on the fire, because without fire they cannot have the fiery nature. So in the same way, the soul is also dependent on God and is a part and parcel of God. So we are like God, but we are not God. And some people say that I am God. No, that is not true, because God's power is unlimited and our power is very limited. Okay, with our power we may create some laptops, some mobile phones, some swimming pools, but God can create planets. He can create oceans. He can create rivers. We cannot imitate God. God is extremely powerful. He is Vibhu, and we are tiny Anu. So that's the difference between us and God. So that's the point of this. And then some may ask, what is the proof that soul exists? Yes, there are many proofs that the soul exists. I'll just share some 4 proofs for the existence of soul, and then I'll take some question answers. Okay. First is common sense. Okay. Or let me show you the PPT. That will become more clear in the PPT. Yeah. Here it is. First is common sense. Common sense means when we say that when somebody dies, we say he has passed away, right? He or she has passed away. But who has passed away? The body is there in front. All the atoms and molecules of the body are intact. Then who has gone? The soul has gone. So that's the understanding. That the soul has gone to another body. Is that clear? Are you able to understand? Yeah, correct. Right? हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना, वो चल बसे हैं, वो चले गए हैं. कौन चला गया? All the elements, all the atoms are as it is. Before death, whatever items were there in the body, they are as it is. But what element has gone? The soul element, which we cannot see, it has gone. Why we cannot see the soul? Because soul is spiritual. We cannot see spiritual things from our material eyes. We can see spiritual things only through spiritual eyes. So we have to develop that spiritual vision, then we will be able to perceive the soul. Now here we'll try to understand the soul by logic. We'll not be able to see the soul in today's session, but we'll try to see the presence of the soul through logic. And even scientific proofs are also there. We'll try to see some scientific proofs also. Right. So see here, yes, passed away. Second proof is consciousness. Consciousness means to be aware, to think, to feel, will, and intentionality. Right? Like here, the camera is clicking. The camera can say that the color of this photo is red. A lot of red content is there. But a man, he can say it's very beautiful. It's a beautiful sunrise. It's so wonderful. He can feel the wonder of that color or the setting. But the Atma cannot, isn't it? So Atma can feel, but not the camera. Camera cannot have any feelings. It just sees the color as red or green or blue, whatever. Right. Another proof is near-death experience or out-of-body experience. About 11 to 14% of the average American population who are mentally and physically healthy have had out-of-body experience. So what is out-of-body experience? Out-of-body experience is something very phenomenal, something very interesting, where it is said that the soul goes out of the body and sees itself from outside the body. Okay, that's called as out-of-body experience or near-death experience. So I'll show you a video. Kindly attentively watch this video, and you can tell me. Yeah, I'm going to share this video here.
In Germany, Christina's doctors are also losing their battle. Her heart will not
Restart. She has just minutes before her brain
Are you able to see the video? Okay.
too shuts down.
Es wurden Defibrillationsschocks
We were trying to jumpstart her heart with a defibrillator.
zum Schlagen zu bringen. Gleichzeitig
And we gave her several
die
drugs.
Seite mehrere Medikamente. Der Patientin hatte zu viel
The
Blut.
patient had lost too much blood.
Adäquat.
Her organs
Es war
weren't
eine
getting enough.
Situation, wo kein Mensch und ich am wenigsten
We really didn't think we could save her.
erfolgreich sein können.
Because Christina's heart has stopped pumping, many would consider her dead. Yet something seems to be happening with her mind.
Das nächste, was ich wieder weiß, ist, ja, dass ich wohl unter der
Next
Decke.
thing I know, I was hovering underneath the ceiling of the room.
Also auch auf
I could see down on myself laying on the operating table.
gesehen
And I saw the surgeons and heard them talking to each other. The scenario was pretty hectic.
gab mir dann auch
I realized that this was about life or death.
To help understand near-death experiences, some researchers focus on the content of these episodes.
A common element that occurs early in near-death experiences is what's called an out-of-body experience. At that time, the person seems to be able to see and hear things going on, but up from the vantage point above their body.
Right. So I think you could see that video, some of you. So what do you understand from this video? Who was watching the operation? This lady, she was undergoing the operation. For those who could not see it clearly, I'll just repeat that. Yeah, so she was undergoing the operation, and during the operation, the soul went out and observed everything. And after she came back to consciousness after the operation, she was able to describe everything which happened in the operation. Right? She was able to say that, no, doctor, first you cut my skin, and then you opened my heart, and then you did this surgery, you asked for this instrument, you're talking this to the nurse. She was able to explain in detail what she was observing. So how she was able to describe? Because she was able to see herself, and the body was fully under anesthesia. Right? The doctors were fully confident that no, she is not able to hear nor feel anything. She's full complete anesthesia, and they were surprised how she is able to recollect all these instances. So then the doctor concluded that actually she had an out-of-body experience where she could see from outside. She could see herself from outside. Right. So there's a comment. Any examples in India? Yes, there are examples in India. I have a document about reincarnation and others. I can share it with you on our volunteers will share it on the Telegram. Then you can watch it. You can read it. It has got about 30 cases of reincarnation and such kind of experiences. So that is a case of near-death experience or out-of-body experience. And then you will see here there's so many books on near-death experience and out-of-body experiences published here, right? So many books are there. And this was something very interesting. Dr. Anne Stevenson, professor of psychiatry, University of Virginia, has extensively investigated over 2,000 cases of spontaneous reincarnation memories. Means he met people who had recollection about their past life. So he went and interviewed different people, and after thorough investigation, he wrote about 2,000 cases of past life memories. Right? So that is the research done. I'll just present you one such case of reincarnation. So here you see so many books are written about reincarnation. Right? Reincarnation, the missing link in Christianity, life before life, karma and reincarnation. Right? Not just Indian authors, but Western authors are writing so many books. So this reincarnation or Punarjanma is not just a Hindu belief. It is believed even by people in the West. So many books are written on this. So how can it be a superstitious or a blind belief? No. So this belief, the people are believing across the continents, across the globe. Right? Some proofs. Phobias. Phobias means what? Phobias means fear of something. Like in this life, by birth, people have some fears. Like here, she is having a fear of water. So she is having fear of water because in the past life, she might have had a bad experience with water, or she might have died in a water accident. So because of which she is having fear of water now. And somebody has fear of height, somebody has fear of knives. And some people, when you put injections, they say, "Oh, very painful. Don't bring it near." Isn't it? They have fear of sharp objects because they might have been stabbed in the past life and he might have died. So that's fear of. That's called phobia. Phobia means past life fears. And the difference in temperament of twins. See, these two people look alike. They're looking same. Means genetically they are same, but actually speaking, somebody likes sweet, another person like hot items. Somebody is very calm, somebody is very little naughty, right? These kind of temperaments are different in the two twins. Why is this difference? Because both the bodies are having two different souls. Genetically they are same. Like, if you know how the twins grow, like one egg and one sperm mixed together and then forms a zygote, and then it splits and the two cells form into different two bodies. And that is the mechanism of twins formation. So genetically they are same, but temperaments are different. Why the temperaments are different? Because of two different souls in their body. So this is the temperament of twins. And you will see reincarnation memory of past life. Okay. So I'll show a video of this. It's about a fighter pilot, who had a past life memory. Okay. So I will show this video and then we'll take some question answers. Okay, this is very interesting video. Kindly watch this carefully. This will clarify a lot of doubts. Okay, I hope you're able to see this. So this is the boy who had this reincarnation experience.
The same name and boyish good looks. James M. Houston, raised in the Midwest. James M. Leininger, a young boy from the Bayou.
Whoa! There's something in the eyes. It's undeniable.
That's not all they share.
Somehow James Houston's spirit has affected my son, either through reincarnation. I don't know how it happened.
I can read the Japanese easy as pie.
Initially, what caught my attention was James's extreme fascination with airplanes.
And every night he slept with his G.I. Joe action figures, which he named.
I took him to the Cavanaugh Flight Museum.
Here's home video. While the other kids casually look at the plane, 2-year-old James seems to inspect it.
So this boy, he is playing with planes in a very young age. At such a young age, he is able to identify all the parts of the aeroplane. How is it possible?
Watch as he checks the underbelly, then climbs inside, donning the headset.
I said, oh, look, there's a bomb on the bottom. He said, that's not a bomb, that's a drop tank.
Bouncing about in the cockpit, James was flying high. That night, their world would change forever.
He started having the nightmares, and that was my first indication that there was something wrong. It was a panic-stricken, terrorized screaming.
Over and over again, James had this same terrible nightmare, 4 to 5 times a week. He was too young to explain the dream, but he could draw.
Bombing ships, you see men parachuting. Here's another one where plane.
So these are the drawings of the war field in the past life, which he is drawing here.
They're dropping bombs.
He would just be crying. He'd say, airplane crash on fire, little man can't get out. He laid on his back and kicked up at the ceiling, and he goes, Mama, the little man's going like this. And he laid on his back and kicked his feet up. The little man's going, ooh, 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 can't get out. And I said, well, who's the little man, baby? And he goes, me. I thought Bruce and I were just gonna faint.
They questioned, what kind of plane?
Corsair.
Why did your airplane crash?
My plane was shot down.
Who shot your plane?
He looked at me like I was a village idiot. He said,
The Japanese. I kept thinking, where is he getting this? I was a stay-at-home mom, so I know that there wasn't anything that he was being exposed to.
Not exposed to in this life, but perhaps, just maybe, somebody else was. Decades earlier, James Houston grew up with this.
So this World War II, so in World War II, I will share you the video in the Telegram, where you can watch it fully. So in World War II, he was fighting with the Japanese. He was an American side and he was fighting with the Japanese, and the Japanese hit him on the engine, and then the plane burst fire and he died there. And his name was also James. So in past life also his name was James, and parents accidentally they gave the name James again in this life. So then when he started getting dreams when he was a small child that no, my plane is getting shot, please help me, protect me. So parents were confused, what is he talking about? And then later on they went and they inquired, they went to the army also, they inquired, and they went through the list of people who were fighting with the Japanese, and they found out that there was James. And they asked his friends, do you know James? Do you know? Yes, they said they know James. And they asked this child, do you know them? Do you know your colleagues who were there during World War? And he could tell the names, and it was matching. And it was matching. And then they went and talked to them. They met each other, and also they had a reunion of that people, those people who were fighting with the Japanese at the time. They had an army reunion, and this James small boy was called, and he was also part of that grand reunion. And everybody believed that he is James because he is able to recollect such detailed information that he could not have learned, right? So nor through video games. So he was not playing such video games of aeroplanes. Video games, he can know the name of the plane, but he was knowing the details. He was knowing the cockpit, what button to press, and even he knew the colleagues' names of in the past life who were fighting with the Japanese. Right, and all the details he could recollect. He was drawing the war field also. So this is what happened. So his body died in the past life, but the soul got another body in this family as per his karma. Right. So that's called transmigration or reincarnation. So this is the proof of the existence of soul, isn't it? Right. So one more real case study from India that some of you are asking about story from India. So here is Shukla Gupta remembering her past life. So this case is also investigated by Anne Stevenson. So Shukla was a girl born in Bengal, and in the childhood she was getting dreams that Mera naam Shukla nahi hai, Shukla mat bulao, right? My name is different. My name is Meena, she used to say. Then I said, my village is that village, Bhatpara village. Take me to Bhatpara. So then father was amazed, how come she knowing some name of village which is far, far away? So then he inquired about that village and he went to that village taking the daughter Shukla. And when they came and landed in that village, Shukla said, follow me, I will take you. So you see this village routes. So she took through the village routes to her home in the past life. And when she entered the home, she was able to recognize her father-in-law. As she sees, she is leading everybody to the home, and in the home she is able to recognize his father-in-law, my mother-in-law, then my husband and my daughter. पिछले जन्म में मेरे जो daughter थी, she could recognize. Now daughter is elder and Shukla is younger. So in this, she was able to recognize each and every one of them. And then to get a confirmation, the mother-in-law asked, can you identify your favorite sari? So she went to her room, opened the locker, and she picked up one sari. Said, this is my favorite sari. Then that was a confirmation. That's all. She is our previous life's daughter-in-law. Like that. So means what? She was able to remember her past life. Right? So this is the proof that the soul transmigrates from one life to another life. Right? So there is a shloka from Bhagavad Gita which says that Vasamsi jirnani yatha vihaya navani granati naroparani tata sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navami dehi. Just like the dress, we change dress. Similarly, the soul changes bodies. Okay, so the body changes just like a soul, just like we change the dress. That's the meaning. Okay, so these are some of the stories about real stories about past life memories and proof for the existence of soul, which we discussed today. So I'll just summarize that today we discussed these 4 points. Yeah. First we discussed who am I? And am I a bunch of chemicals? What is the difference between living body and a dead body? 6 symptoms of living being and difference between soul and God, and scientific proofs for the existence of soul. So these main points we discussed today. And tomorrow we'll discuss more about what is reincarnation, how does reincarnation happen, on what basis I'll get the next life, what I was in the previous life, can I come to know. So we'll try to discuss some of these very most frequently asked questions in tomorrow's session. And we'll also discuss about a little bit about does God really exist in tomorrow's session. Because once we understand the self and God, then self-realization is complete. Then we can get full satisfaction. Okay. So we'll meet again tomorrow. So we'll just take some question answers for some time. So there are a lot of questions coming. I don't know from where to start. Let's go to the top first. Okay. Okay. I am not this body, I am spirit soul. Okay. Okay, so here are so many comments. What about mind? Do I own the mind? Yeah, correct. We own the mind. We have a Atma, then we have a subtle body, then we have gross body. Okay, just like a coconut, the coconut has got outer fiber which you remove. Inside there's hard shell, and inside that there is malai or the coconut. So when you break the coconut, so then the coconut breaks, and then you take the malai, isn't it? So similarly, the body is also covered. Soul is also covered with 2 layers. Inside is subtle layer and gross outer layer. So outer layer we can see and observe, but inner layer, subtle body, we cannot see. So the mind is part of the subtle body. Mind, intelligence, and ego, Mana, Buddhi, Ahankara. These 3 are part of the subtle body. Okay. And the mind's function is to store the thoughts and feelings and impressions of the past. Okay. And intelligence makes discrimination. And the Ahankara identifies himself that I am the man, I am a woman, or I am an Indian, I am an American, or I am part and parcel of God. So when you understand that I am the part and parcel of God, that's called true Ahankara. And when you identify with something else, that's called Mithya Ahankara or false ego. Okay. How do we come to conclusions about soul? Yeah, we already discussed so many scientific proofs for the existence of soul. Can clones have soul? Would synthetic human being having soul? Yeah, anything which is showing life symptoms will have a soul. Okay, even if it is it's a clone, or even if it is a, right? Like sometimes you see some earthworms. You cut a earthworm and both parts grow into different earthworms. Right? So earthworm has one soul, but in a cut, so suppose it gets cut because of some accident or something. So one part has a soul and new soul enters the other part, and then both of them grow, isn't it? So any living, anything which exhibits living symptoms, it has got the soul. So that's the conclusion. Okay. Yeah. So there are many comments here. Then there is. Okay. Let me see where the questions are. The soul is inside. No cost. Okay. Okay. Is Paramatman exists? If yes, what is the difference between Atma and Paramatma? I think that we already discussed. Atma is soul, Paramatma is super soul. Right? Paramatma, Atma can know what is happening in this body. Right? If some ant is crawling on my back, I'll come to know. But I'll not come to know what is happening in your body. Isn't it? So because the soul's domain is limited to this body. But Paramatma can come to know what is happening in my body, your body, and everybody's body. So that is the difference between Atma and Paramatma. So more knowledge about this is given in 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, right, where it is told about Purush, Paramatma and Maha Purushottama. In 13th chapter also it is said, Upadrashta Anumanta Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara Paramatmeti Chapyukto Dehesmin Purushaparaha. So Paramatma is also residing in the body, right? And then he is witnessing what the soul is doing. And based upon what activity soul is doing, Paramatma awards happiness or gives punishments. So that is the role of Paramatma. He is an observer and is a sanctioner. In exact what part of our body does the soul present? Yeah, very good question. So the soul is present in the region of the heart. Hrid Deshe Arjuna Tishtati is present in the region of the heart. Some people say it is present here and all, but actually the Shastra says it is present in the region of the heart. So this is the, it's not in part of the heart, it is in the region of the heart. It doesn't mean that if you transplant the heart to another person, the soul goes. No. The heart may go, but the soul remains here. Right? And you put the new heart, and then it starts powering the new heart. Okay. Mugdha is asking, it's Satchidananda soul that I'm put inside. It's not in. Okay. Can soul think on its own? Yeah, soul is the thinker actually. Yeah, the body cannot think. The mind also, it is just a storehouse of different thoughts and images and experiences. But actually, the soul is the real thinker, and all the consciousness is coming from the soul actually. And the mind, the intelligence, and the body, they are the instruments through which the soul is expressing its desires to this external world. So actually soul is the real conscious being, not the body or not the mind. Then one may ask the question, then how is the mind affecting us? Yeah, mind can affect us by giving temptations or giving suggestions. Whatever activities we have got habituated to, that the mind keeps prompting us. Okay. And when the soul says, yes, I want to do this, then it starts acting. So just like even while browsing internet, sometimes you get auto suggestions. Do you want this? Recently you browse for a computer. Here are new options for computer. Would you like to purchase this? It gives some prompts. Similarly, the mind, based upon what recently it has experienced or recently it has done, it gives prompts, suggestions to the soul. And the soul, if it chooses to do something, then in that direction, the body starts acting. Right? So the soul is the real thinker. Why does it think differently when in human and the rat? Okay, Redmi. I don't know what is your name, but you're asking that why does the soul think differently when in human and in rat? Yeah. See, the bodies are different bodies are like different machines. one machine has got a certain capacity, another machine has got a certain capacity. Like for example, if you have a Luna and if you have a big KTM bike, so Luna has its capacity, and a big power bike or a sports bike, it has got its huge capacity, and you cannot compare both. Once you purchase Luna, you have to go at 30-40 kilometers only. It cannot go faster. But if you have a big bike, you can go at 100 to 200 miles also, very fast. So each body has got its limitations. So the owner, whatever body he has purchased, he is limited to that body till that time. And once his karma is over, he goes to a different body, right? And then his capacities may be further increased if he has got a good body, or if he gets a lower body, then he continues his suffering. His activities will be more limited. Okay. Why only in human form we can do spiritual activities? Why other living beings cannot do spiritual activities? Very beautiful question by Karthik Bhule. So actually, human body is specially meant for spiritual activities, not other activities. We'll see this more in our next module, Purpose of Life, where Vishal sir will be discussing more about difference between human and an animal. So in short, the human body is most suitable for spiritual inquiry. Other bodies are suited for eating, mating, sleeping, and defending. Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Mahitun. These 4 activities. But human body is specially designed for spiritual inquiry. So that's why I wish all of you, I really appreciate that you are able to take out time for these sessions, because you are trying to understand this spiritual aspect of life, which is the most important duty of a human being. So in fact, entire human population should know these concepts and should try to follow these concepts. Okay. So why only in human life? Okay, that we already did. Yeah, because other animal bodies, they are programmed to act in a particular way, but human being, he can change his programming, right? So he can change his programming by spiritual practices and elevate himself to spiritual world. So Anuradha Mahajan is asking that does tree also has soul? Yes, tree also has soul, and the trees, there are different species. There are 84 lakh species as mentioned in Shastras. Jalajanava Lakshani, 9 lakhs of aquatics. Sthavara Lakshavimshati, 20 lakhs of trees. 20 lakh varieties of trees and plants are there. And Trimsha Lakshani Pashivaha, 30 lakhs of animals. And Krimisha Rudra Sankhya, 11 lakhs of insects. And then finally human beings. So there are different sets of things. So trees also have life. They have soul. Because they have soul, they are also exhibiting life symptoms. If you have done gardening, you can easily believe that trees also have life, right? We planted some creepers, and we saw that how the creeper is climbing and going tall on the top of our building. It knows how to hold and then climb. And sometimes it doesn't find a path here, then it will go here. It has got intelligence. We may not see its eyes and hands and legs, but it has got intelligence, and the intelligence is more covered. In the trees, the consciousness is covered. In animals, it's more evolved. In humans, it's the most evolved. So that's why, because human being is having evolved consciousness, it is most suitable for spiritual practice. Okay. Yes, every living unit has a soul. Okay. Redmi is asking me. It will be nice if you can write your full names, and then we can call you by the right name. Corona also has soul. Yes, because it is living. So every living being has got a soul. Anything which exhibits life symptoms, right? It is growing, right? It is born, it's growing, it's multiplying, producing byproducts, and it is dying. So it is exhibiting life symptoms. So it is also a soul, but it's a bad, it is a notorious or a sinful soul because it is creating trouble all over the world, right? So like previously in previous yugas, you used to hear about Rakshasas like Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Ravana, they'll create trouble all over the world. So similarly, this is something like a corona is something like a, you can just comparing that it's like, demon who has come in the form of virus and threatening the whole world, right? In the Shastras, we hear of how Hiranyakashipu was troubling all the 3 worlds by his power and controlled everything, and he was doing so many atrocities. Similarly, this virus is also doing such atrocities all over the world. Right. So the only way by which we can counter this, one way is we can create vaccines and so many things. But another way of countering this is by spiritual strengths, by enhancing positivity all around the world by congregational bhakti or chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, and the entire congregational chanting will elevate our consciousness. Okay. So just before going ahead to further questions, I just forgot to tell that tomorrow's session will be at 4 p.m. not at 6 p.m. Okay, because we have another program at 6 p.m. So another bigger program at 6 p.m. So we are preponing this program to 4 o'clock. So kindly log in tomorrow at 4 o'clock. So now there are further questions. What is the purpose and goal of our soul? Yeah. So the purpose and goal of soul is to love and to serve. That is the characteristics of soul. The soul wants to love. That loving tendency is there in our heart, isn't it? We want to love our parents, we want to love our trees, our plants, and we want to love ourselves, right? So that loving tendency is coming from the soul because it's natural for the soul to love. It's Anandamayo Bhyasat. Vedanta Sutra says the soul is love seeking or pleasure seeking. And that pleasure seeking tendency can be completely fulfilled when it is doubted towards the Supreme Lord. Right? We'll discuss more about this tomorrow, at how this loving tendency can be fulfilled when it's connected to the Supreme Lord. So that's the duty of the soul and the goal of the soul. And the next module is all about this. And what is the goal of soul or the purpose of life? If sun stops burning, will it still have value? I think he is asking this in connection to, I was telling that the sun and the sun rays. It is just an analogy to understand. Just like the sun rays are dependent on the sun. Similarly, the soul is also dependent on the God, because soul is a part and parcel of God. Of course, the sun, after many millions of years, it may stop burning because the light power may go off. But and even the whole universe is destroyed, for that matter. But God is not like that. By definition, God is somebody who is deathless. God is never created and is never destroyed. He is eternally existing. Similarly, Atma is also part and parcel of God. So Atma also will never die. Right? Nityasyokta sharirina. Soul never dies. It is Nitya, eternal. That's the right understanding. So next question is, Tejaswini is asking, does soul control parts of the body? And is that the reason body leaves this world? Yeah, correct. The soul, as long as the soul is there in the body parts are functioning. And the soul sees through the eyes, it is hearing through the ears, it is tasting through the tongue, it is smelling through the nose, it is feeling through the touch. Actually, soul is only doing all these things through this body. So body is like an instrument which the soul is using to live in this world. Okay. And when the soul leaves this body, then the body is useless. The eyes cannot see, the ears cannot hear, the mouth cannot speak. And in fact, the whole body starts decaying. Right? You will see that when the soul is there in the body doesn't decay. In fact, it maintains itself very strongly. But when the soul leaves, within hours, bad smells start coming because body starts decaying. But as long as the soul is there, that decaying is happening, but regeneration is also happening. Many cells are dying and new cells are getting formed. That's because of the presence of the soul. But when the soul leaves, only decaying. All the cells will decay and then die. So that's why the body has to be burnt as early as possible. Right? So if soul can see, then why do we have eyes? Soul has got spiritual eyes, but in this material world, to see material things, so it has got an instrument called eyes through which it can see. So not only physical eyes, but also subtle eyes, sukshma eyes, through which the soul is interacting to this material world. It's just like if you're going into water, when you go inside the water, you have to wear some masks, right? Ventilators, and you have to cover yourself with certain different kind of dress and then go into water. Or if you go into a space, you have to wear space suit and then go there. Similarly, when the spirit soul comes to this world, the body is the medium through which it can interact with matter. Okay. So the body is like a space suit through which the soul interacts with material things. Because this material world is unnatural for the soul. The soul's real position is to be in the spiritual world. Okay. And when it comes to the material world, it is the unnatural. So it needs a different set of instruments to interact with this world. So that's why this body is given. Okay. So I hope that answered this question. Okay. Any such examples happen in India? I showed one example of Shukla. So I can share the document with you. You can read it more. Okay, so there are many questions. Many questions have come. So but we'll run short of time, I think. Should we take this today? Or?
Questions.
Okay. So there are a lot of questions coming.
What is the concern tomorrow?
Okay. Yeah.
Tomorrow again, questions.
Yeah. So I'll take some another 3-4 questions. So then remaining questions we can take tomorrow also. So here we are there. So where is Mukti? Yeah. We answered this question. If soul can see, why do we have that? We read. Okay. Then, okay. Why can't we remember anything? Why can't you remember anything from past life? Very good question. And before that, there is asking that there are 2 more questions. How can soul see without its body? Yeah, actually, soul cannot perceive without the body. So that's why for living in this world, we need the body. Then Anirban was asking, and then Purana is asking, why do soul use body? Correct. When the body becomes old and body cannot support any longer, then the soul needs a change of body. Just like if you have a home and the home has become very old and the windows are breaking and the ceiling is falling sometimes, you'll see some concrete falling. You can see sometimes the rods on the top ceiling. So when such things are happening, what you do? You leave that home, and with whatever money you have, you purchase another home. So similarly, the soul also, when the body becomes old, when all the teeth are gone, eyes are not able to see, the body has become very weak, right? So at that time, body needs a new body. The soul needs a new body. So the soul goes from this body to another body. So that is the reason why it leaves. Why can't we remember anything from our past life? A very good question by Suchitra. So the answer is that not everybody remembers past life because God makes us forget purposefully. Because if you remember what all happened in the past life, we cannot be peaceful. Like suppose somebody died in a fire accident, or somebody died by drowning in water. So those thoughts will keep haunting us, and we cannot be peaceful in this world, in this life. So whatever happened in the past life, God makes us forget, so that we can be peaceful. So then the question may be asked that then why some people remember? Yeah, some people remember because they might have had a traumatic death. Traumatic means the death where there was great impact on their subtle body and their mind. Just like that pilot, he died in an accident. His plane was shot in the air, and he died in such a very painful situation. So that's why when he was born, in the early years, up to the age of 5, he was getting dreams. So generally, people remember their past life in the early age of their life, around 5 years old, before 5 years. And after that, the memory starts fading away and they forget it. So only very few people are able to recollect their past life. But that itself is a proof that each one of us have had a past life. If souls can see, hear, remember, then why do we need a body? And that I already answered. We need a body because we are in an unnatural place and we need certain tools to interact with matter. Soul is spirit, and in order to interact with matter, it needs tools. And the soul is connected to this material world through ahankara or ego. That false ego is the identification through which the soul connects to the material world. So the soul connects to ego and thinks that I am this body. and then the ego tells the intelligence, okay, now do this, and then the mind starts activating the senses, the 5 senses, because mind is the controller of all the senses, and then the senses start acting, and the soul wants to eat something, then the soul says gulab jamun, and he wants to eat it, then the mind says, okay, and you go take gulab jamun and eat it, and then the mouth will eat, and then the stomach will start digesting. So all the interaction in the physical world is done through the body, and soul is just desiring and dictating. That's all, right? Soul cannot eat gulab jamun because soul is spiritual. Gulab jamun is material. It doesn't suit. It doesn't fit him, right? So no matter any amount of material pleasures or things in this world cannot satisfy the soul. Only spiritual activities can satisfy the soul. That is the secret, which we'll be discussing more tomorrow and day after tomorrow. At how to get satisfaction. And that's the topic, self-realization for self-satisfaction. If you want to become satisfied, then first we should know what is the self, and we should know how to feed the self. Okay, so that we'll be discussing tomorrow. Okay. Are we always born as humans? No. In this body we are as humans. In the past life, we were in some other body. In the next life, we can get human body if we did good activities, but if we do sinful activities, then one may get animal body also. So that's why one should be very careful what activities he is doing. Depending on your karma, you get your next body. Right? That's a topic for discussion tomorrow also. What is reincarnation, and exactly how reincarnation happens, on what criteria. So that we'll see. It's a very beautiful question. We can remind us again tomorrow. So we'll answer it tomorrow. Does soul from Manushya Yoni after death remains in Manushya Yoni, or can transform to Pashu or another Yoni? Yeah, it can transform to another Yoni also. It can become a Pashu, it can become a tree, it can become a fish, based upon what desires he is carrying in this life. Right? So it's not fixed. It's not that a soul in human body will be always becoming a human. No. It keeps on changing its body, depending upon its karma. So karma is the main thing. Why one soul goes to another person's body who is alive? So I think they're asking about ghosts. So how is it that one soul enters into another body and controls? Actually, what is ghost? Ghost is nothing but a soul without body. The soul and subtle body is there. Mana buddhi ahankara. The soul along with subtle body, it keeps hovering, and it enters into some body and try to control that body. So why somebody becomes a ghost? Somebody becomes a ghost because of his sinful activities. Especially those who commit suicide, so they become ghosts because they have been given this human body and they misuse this human body by destroying this human body. So as a punishment, they are given a ghostly body. Ghostly body means soul plus subtle body and no gross body. So the person wants to drink water, but he cannot because he doesn't have a body. So then he wants to enter into others' body, and through their body he will try to eat or drink and talk or do something, such activities, right? So that's a ghost. So one should not be afraid of them, and some of them are good, some of them are really bad. So if you are fearful, then you can chant Ram Nam, Krishna Nam, and by chanting the names, they will not come near. So they'll go away. So they cannot exist where Sankirtan is happening. So you can chant intensely and they'll go away. So one need not be afraid. Okay, please share these images. Yeah, we'll share these images with all of you. Why can't everyone remember past life? That I already explained. So what if we don't have fears from birth? Does that mean this is our first birth? Not like that. We have got many births. If somebody is not fearing, means he had a good past, right? He didn't have a bad death in the past life. But the fact that we have got a certain kind of body, somebody has got a rich body, somebody a beautiful body, or a ugly body, somebody has got a rich family birth, somebody has got a poor family birth. These are not chances. These are according to our previous karma. So according to our previous karma, we get bodies in this life. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so Dipti has a similar question. So why are you not able to remember past life? Avanish Mishra is asking, Prabhuji, what about ghost? Is soul or something else? Is that possible? Can have two souls living in one body? Yeah, that's possible. Yeah, about ghost I already said. In one body, two souls can be there also. Like suppose you are the main soul in this body, and there can be other subordinate souls. Like in any home, there is one owner, and there can be many tenants staying in that home, isn't it? In this room, one person is staying, in another room, another person is staying. But it belongs to one person, the owner. Similarly, I own this body, and in this body, other souls can stay also. Like some microbes or bacteria, they can stay, or some insects they can stay, right? So in this way, the body becomes home to multiple souls, but it's owned by one main soul, right? That's how we can understand. Okay, modern because so where was the soul between death and birth? Yeah, good question. So it is not when you die, it's not that immediately you'll get a next body. We have to. There is some waiting period. So till that time, one may stay in Yamaloka. He is taken to Yamaloka till the time judgment is done, and then he is given a right body to come to this earth, and he gets again new body. So it's not instant. It may be some time gap. That pilot which I showed you, the pilot also had a gap of about 30 years, 30 or 40 years before he was born again. So because the right body should be ready, so that the karma of the soul is matching with the body and the family, and then he is born, right? So that waiting period is there for some time. Okay. And in some cases, the birth can be instant also, but in some cases it is delayed. So till the time they are placed in Yamaloka for some time. Okay. Why don't you remember past life? We had already answered the question. The Tejas is asking the same thing. Okay, Vaishnav is also asking the same question. You already answered it. Ananya is asking, sir, some people say Radha is Atma and Krishna is Paramatma. Was Radha a human being or God is Lakshmi? No, Radha is different. Lakshmi is also different. So Radha or Lakshmi, they are energies of Krishna, or internal energy of Krishna. So Krishna has got Shaktis, energies. So Radha and Krishna, Radha and Lakshmi or Sita, they are all very intimate energies of Krishna. And Krishna conducts this material world through these energies, right? There are different kinds of energies of Krishna. So Antaranga, Bahiranga, Tatastha Shakti. So Radha or Lakshmi, they are Antaranga Shakti, internal Shaktis of Krishna. And this material world is Bahiranga Shakti, which is called Durga. And Jiva, all of us, they are Tatastha Shakti, right? So we can be either with Krishna and Radharani or Lakshmi in the spiritual world, or we can choose to be in the material world with Durga. So when we come to Durga, we suffer. When we are with Radha or Lakshmi, we are happy. So in this way, soul is Tatastha Shakti. So Radha is not Tatastha Shakti. She is Radha Tattva. She is internal energy of Krishna. Why do we need a body when soul can see and remember? Okay. So yeah, that's what again same thing, that the soul is spiritual and the world is material. So interact with this material world, we need this body, right? I think the same question is coming again and again. So I think it's already 7:30. So there are many questions remaining. So I think should we take this tomorrow? Right? It's already late. So many real questions are coming. We'll take it tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll try to end the session 15 minutes early. And these questions are very interesting. We have 7 lives and Mukti. What about laboratory generated living entities? Does the wicked attitude of person is fault of the soul? Right? Yeah. About ghosts. Yeah. So we'll answer this tomorrow. There's one question: is there some function in the temple tomorrow? In temple, we don't have any functions. It's an online program tomorrow, but it's for a different set of audience. So that's why we're having this session at 4 o'clock tomorrow. So thank you very much for all of you coming to this session today. and we'll meet again tomorrow. Hare Krishna. And I hope all of you are remembering your commitment, 21 days challenge. Please chant Hare Krishna regularly and keep the commitment for 21 days. And in case you miss, you again do it double next day. Okay, so try to keep the commitment for 21 days. That will give us determination. Okay, thank you so much. Hare Krishna to each and every one of you. We'll meet again tomorrow. Thank you. Hare Krishna.